Um, so the daily ended up closing as a small red inside bar, not good for bulls. Really not what bulls wanted to see. Um, Pretty decently for what bears, I guess, wanted to see. Bears would like to see a continuation down, as we talked about the last hour, through this low and to tap this low, and ideally even further. I could definitely see a bar like this. Maybe it goes outside up to start, and then reverses super strong on it and put in basically this kind of thing here, except with a smaller tail on the top. Could definitely see something like that happen, and we tap 61.5 or 62 today. Of course, we could just start pumping above here and keep holding. I think the best thing for bulls, obviously, other than just pumping straight back up to 68,000, would be to maybe put in yet another inside bar here. Ideally, like a green bar that kind of closes up here, maybe around 65.2 or so, and then from there, maybe we get a pump on the next bar. But that's a long ways away. On the 4 hour, it's looking like it's turning over here. Um, Starting to get kind of not so much of a rounded bottom or a rounded top, but bulls tried to push up here once. They got reversed on immediately. Bulls tried to push up here again the second time. They got reversed on. I guess they're not officially totally reversed on until we hit 64.6, but looking pretty much reversed on. So this candle, I mean, this last bar that just closed is pretty reasonably strong looking bear bar, such that maybe we could just get like a little, maybe try and get a love tap or in this low 63s or something like that on this bar, or maybe this bar kind of makes another bear bar. I think if another bear trend bar closes small bear trend bar like this, sorry, it's hard to draw on this, then I would think much higher probability of taking a test of this 63, and definitely much higher probability of there being a sustained push beyond this low, just because it would be an attempt by bears to break out of this tight range, and like that's kind of what's looking like it's probably trying to have happen right here right now. And if this bar can break under 600 for sure, then it's really happening. That was the last low of a bull candle. Let me flip these back over, by the way. That was the last low on a bull candle, was 64.6. So if this candle breaks below 64.6, bears are making a claim that they're definitely in control, because they put in a high here and then a lower high here, and then there was a higher low here in between them, but we're now breaking the higher low. So excuse me, it ends up being a good show of strength by the bears. And then for them to close as a bear trend bar, kind of like this, really strong near the low, would be really nice to see. And if that bar also happens to be a small bar, oh man, it's just like a dream setup, because there's just still so much room to run reasonably and realistically. And on lower time frames, it's going to look probably even better. So that's probably what we're looking at right now. Probably not looking for longs, just because we're kind of getting this rounding. Let's see if it's looking like rounding on the lower time frames as well, because I'm not sure that it is necessarily, because this is also just a sideways range, right? So if we're not seeing the rounding on the bottom, then it may not necessarily make sense to be bearish either. Yeah, I don't know necessarily that we call this rounding, but I think there's just such a clear and strong resistance up here that bulls just have no desire to break through. They just don't care to take it. Really low volume throughout here, not much trading happening. And every time we get towards the bottom of the range, we bounce back into it. Every time we get towards the top of the range, we bounce back into it. Been pretty strong here in these last, like, I don't know, 20 hours, 15, 20 hours here, just staying within the sideways range. So kind of hard to say. I mean, like, bulls get a strong bar here after a strong bottom here, and then they can't do anything with it. Then you feel like bears have a strong signal bar here with a strong top in here. 2 attempts by bulls to push up. And we can make it even more sense, I'm sure. Let's see. We have 1, 2 up here, right? Then we kind of have 1, 2 down, and then yeah, 1, 2 up, and now a strong bar, kind of expecting to dump now. But it's really hard to take this trade since you're trying to take a short at the bottom of a trading range, so it doesn't really make sense to take the short at the bottom of a trading range, which is kind of the main reason why on this you'd like to see a small bar to break out. You don't want to see a strong bar, because the stronger the bar, the greater your risk is breaking out of a really tight barbed wire trading range. There's a reasonable chance that any breakout from that point is going to fail. So the smaller the bar, the better the better the trade, because your risk is just much less to put it on the other side of the bar, right? Like, it's just a better R. Like, if the bar closes here at like 64,400, and you get the short under 64,400, and this is your target, and your stop is just above the bar, the high of the bar, like, this is just such a good risk to reward setup. You see what I'm saying? Whereas if this bar ends up closing or going all the way down here to 63.8, now you're entering under 63.8, let's say right about here, and your stop has to be all the way up here, 1.67%, and the low of the range is only about 1.5% away, so it's almost a 1-to-1. You really want to get further, and that's less of a guarantee for the short. So on these high time frames, you'd like to see a small breakout bar, and then a sustained push through. Here, I mean, the longer we have this, just the more likely that any break out of the range is going to get pushed back the other direction. So even if we get the push down to 63, reasonably likely that we break back into the range and find ourselves back here at 65 again. 65,000, 64,000 seems to be, at least in the last, like, how many hours is this? Yeah, in the last 26 hours seems to be the accepted market price for Bitcoin. 65,000 is pretty fair, is what the market is telling us right now. So any break out of that range will probably be met with an attempt to get back into the $65,000 range. So really just kind of taking scalps almost on the lower time frames. Really hard to you just almost don't want to analyze the price action, but like, what else to do? This is one whole push down that kind of ends. Then we get a push up here. Bulls are in control here, right? The bears break this trend here, and then they get a higher high, and then bears back in control in the channel here. Channel concludes with a really strong spike up, but that almost kind of just follows this as a second leg to this, because this was so strong temporally that you want to have some sort of test of this high again, and you kind of consider it to be this kind of, these bars right here, these 3 bars right here, as this move is happening. But as it resolves and it gets down here back into like a buyer's territory, right, where we bought up the instrument like every time we've been in this area, but especially even, you know, through here, we have this bar here that buys off this level. We try again to defend it here. So like, we obviously defended it here, and throughout here we were building a position in it, accumulation. So, oops. Makes sense when we get back here for it to be a buy zone. And then when you get this strong pump, low volume, no sustainability, builds a double top here. This is almost doing the trades of the day here. Builds a double top here. We have kind of a small inside bar here, reasonable place to take a short underneath it, and that short brings you with 2 legs down, right? 2 legs down here, and then we have 2, once we get the confirmation for bulls get 2 legs up here and are unable to take it to the high of the double top. So this ends up looking like double top, trying to put in a low. Were we able to put in a low here? No, we weren't able to put in a higher low here. I mean a lower high or a lower low here underneath this, but that's okay. We're still building higher low, higher low, higher low for bulls, right? But then the bulls get taken out of their higher lows trend here. That's what we were talking about the last assessment, that we kind of would like to see what type of level are we going to get. A bounce here and then a push up. Doesn't seem to happen. Pushes through, clear two legs, completed with yet another kind of double top, almost even like a triple top here. 3 pushes up, so it's really not good, really not bullish. It's effectively a wedge here. Right, kind of thing. And now we've broken out of the wedge, so probably looking for a second leg down after a retest of somewhere up here. Obviously we have this horizontal resistance here, so would be looking for some sort of shorts, maybe like in this area off a small bar near the high of the trading range with a stop above kind of that small bar. If you were able to pick up this short here, this was probably your entry in one of these 3 bars, so maybe you try and get a short over here and put your stop above this bar here, and looking for a second leg down. If not, a push to all the way to the low. That would be the trade that we were looking for on a lower time frame right now. But as you can see, it kind of flip-flops every, like, as soon as we get 2 legs up, it becomes, okay, it's time to test the down region. And as you can see, the trading range is so tight that there really isn't much money to be made taking trades within this range. So it's really only worthwhile to take trades when it seems like we're going to be making an attempt to actually break out of the range. And it seems like this could be that attempt after seeing bulls have kind of decent strength all throughout this time and just keep building a series of higher lows, higher lows, higher lows kind of thing. And for bears to finally take a breach through it, definitely need to see how the bulls react. And right now they're reacting decently. They're giving us a nice strong reaction to the breach of that level, which was, by the way, kind of like this, right? And you can extend it out as far as you want, as far as the eye can see, right? Of course, you could just do this now and tighten it up like over here, right? So the point being that we need to see what type of reaction we get from bulls here. Bulls really need to try and push it above 65.2, and obviously above 65.369. I don't think it's going to be particularly likely given the strength of this push and given the weakness that bulls showed here, here, and here. But mainly these two, mainly after building this resistance level here, flipping right back into this range just like this. So bulls are trying to do that same thing. If they can take a high, that would change my mind. But currently, I'm definitely looking at thinking we're going to get a second leg down. Probably sooner than this. Probably something like this. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'm definitely thinking this level holds, and we try and pick up a short here with the stop probably above this line, and then looking at a shot at first target 64, second target of course 63, and then I mean if it continues through there and you're still holding some, then cheers, brother. Probably looking at this 60,000 level, if not deeper. I mean, I figure if we're going to get through this level, it's not going to be good. Because then, I mean, the same way that we've determined that this leg was strong enough. Hello? The same way we determined that this leg was strong enough to warrant a second leg down, surely when that second leg down. Hello? What's going on here, yo? Surely when we get that second leg down here, this ends up being strong enough of a move that it warrants a second leg down. right? So yeah, I definitely think we could see ourselves in the mid or low 50s in the next week or two. I don't think that's out of the question at all. Um, in fact, I would say that's more in question than making a new all-time high. I wouldn't say that making a new all-time high is out of the question, but I think it looks more likely that we visit the mid 50s right now than for us to take an all-time high. That being said, yeah, if we continue to move sideways here for like another day or two, like I said, inside bar of an inside bar, and we get an upwards breakout, we definitely could take a shot at this high. And then especially if we do like this, and then a weak breakout here that's swallowed up, definitely think we could take a shot at the high. So currently, feeling more bearish than bullish for sure, but the bull case is definitely not out of the question. And especially if this continues to hold, right? Like if we can't break through this, like what if we just get? Let me do this now real quick. What if we just get like this, a dump to here, and then like this, so not unreasonable off this trend line, and then we'd probably boom. Just because of how strong this is, this now ends up being on a high time frame. On a high time frame, this is a double top buy. Right? If we continue to stay in this range, then when we break above the double top, we're going. All shorts will liquidate. All shorts have to liquidate, right, above all-time high. All shorts already have to liquidate, and then we also have a double top. So this is definitely a double top buy setup if we can hold this trend line 100%. So currently cautiously bearish, but don't lose sight of the big picture, which is we still have much higher to go. And even if we end up coming into this area and then doing this kind of thing and building the same kind of thing and keep retesting the 60K region for weeks and weeks and weeks, eventually we're going to go. And even if we don't hold this level, even if we dump all the way to here, we'll get a, double bottom that gives us another opportunity to test 63, 65, 69, whatever that FR all-time high is. I don't even know 60s it is. So this is way, 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 way down the line. But currently, on high time frame, we are not at all. This is not any reason to be bearish. And even revisiting 55s is not bearish. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Currently, cautiously feeling bearish, but not in any position, and just waiting to see what type of resolution we can kind of get from this structure. Just because I think it's going to open up a lot of information. If we break down towards the downside and put in a fourth strong red bar, like it's not good. But if we keep being inside bar, small, tight trading range activity, then it can really go either way. So we'll have to see how it goes.